What's up, my friends, and happy November 22nd. Welcome to Master Microstrategy, where we are together working on mastering Michael Saylor's genius 7 days a week. Now, as always, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. So please consult a financial professional before making any decisions. And wow, do we have a lot to talk about today? Remember how I've been promising the past couple videos that there would be a dip. There is going to be a dip. There will be a retracement. It's healthy. It's normal. It's absolutely inevitable. Nothing goes up and to the right forever. And we had that. And guess what? We're making the video now where we've already bounced back from that. So raise your hand if you bought during that dip. I'm about to show you some visual proof that I did. And it's just part of a growing company. And MicroStrategy is a volatile company. It's a growing company. It's going to be growing and volatile and amazing forever, in my opinion. That's why I'm here to buy the dips, and I hope you are too. Let's go and check out MSTR-tracker.com. As you can see, at this time, the stock price is $417, which is a 5% increase from open. The market cap is $94 billion. We dropped into not, or we dropped, I should say, out of the top 100. Now we're at 105 out of 500 for S&P 500. Right now, Bitcoin's at 98,754. And they still have 331,200 Bitcoin. And I should say we, because that is our balance. And as shareholders, that is our Bitcoin as well. Because look at our Bitcoin per share is $145. And they are $16 billion in profits with a 98% return percentage. So things are still looking pretty fun here. And this was the visual proof that I wanted to share with you that yesterday I actually came in and bought a bunch more shares of MicroStrategy at $391 out of Fidelity. Now, I will say it promptly continued going down to 372. So I did not buy the bottom by any stretch, but I was pretty happy when it closed at 397. And then now it's up into the 400s. And who knows where it's going to go? But IBTFD, if you know, you know. Let me know if you did that in the comments. Let's move on to the news right here. Why short sellers are circling overheated MicroStrategy as Bitcoin price nears 100,000. I mean, just look at this. The stock has surged over 600%, but short sellers argue it's trading at an unjustifiable premium. My friends, what does that mean? That means they have not done their research. They do not understand MicroStrategy. You do, I do. That's why we're here. That's why we're winning. Critics point to the rise of Bitcoin ETFs as cheaper proxy alternatives. Hey, if you want Bitcoin, own Bitcoin. That's a great, amazing investment. I own Bitcoin. I always will. It's pristine. It's perfect money. But if I want a little leverage on my Bitcoin, and if I want to own the future Bitcoin treasury of the world, I'm going to own MicroStrategy as well. I love that as a supplement. The company recently sold $3 billion in 0% convertible notes to buy more Bitcoin. Yes, that's unbelievable that they got to get $3 billion at a 0% interest. And what did they do? They bought more Bitcoin. They bought more Bitcoin, the best, most pristine money in the world. Let's go ahead and talk about the next one, which is Allianz. I believe that's correct pronunciation. Insurance buys nearly 25% of MicroStrategy's bonds. So it's just very interesting to see this huge German insurance company come in and buy 25% of the $3 billion convertible notes. Obviously, they know something. Obviously, they've done their homework. It's very interesting. As you kind of go down here, you see more details about what they did and why it's such a great idea. Moving on to the next news story, MicroStrategy's modest recovery sparks hope for a $100,000 Bitcoin surge after a 16% plunge. So yes, it plunged 16%. I bought it when it was maybe down 13%. It continued to go down another 3 or so percent, and then kind of bounced back to close the day. And then this morning it opened up, but who knows how it ends? You know, there's always a little bit of a sell-off, it seems, at the end of the day for various reasons. I think anybody selling MicroStrategy before this weekend is making a huge mistake, but I can't see into the future. I'm not Nostradamus. I don't know for sure. I'm only thinking and hoping that that would be the case, but I don't actually know if that will be the case. Some of the key takeaways: MicroStrategy shows recovery in pre-market trading. The company holds over 150,000 Bitcoins. That's way out of date. So we know there's over 300,000. The recent offering raised $3 billion. Bitcoin's expected to approach 100,000 soon. Right now it's at 99,000 actually as I'm speaking. And the market leverage may lead to a potential pullback. Again, these companies, they don't do their own research. The next article I want to talk about is from CoinGate. MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor has $3 billion rescue plan as MSTR stock tanks 16%. And this is just an example of how media who has no clue what they're talking about is just completely trying to manipulate the readers. I mean, it's not a rescue plan. No, it is the plan. It is just the plan. The plan is to use fiat money, is to use fake money to buy the most pristine, perfect money, which is called Bitcoin. That is the plan, the only plan. There's no rescue plan needed. The only people that need to rescue are the people that aren't following this plan, FYI. Some highlights: MicroStrategy completed the $3 billion offering of zero coupon convertible notes. They think that this could push Bitcoin above 100,000 with 135,000 target by year end. I think those are pretty interesting targets. I could see 135,000 by year end. That's something I would hope for. Who knows? And MSTR accounted for $50 billion in trading activity. That's just absolutely insane. It was record-breaking volumes for MSTX, which is a 2x leverage on MicroStrategy. So if MicroStrategy is not enough leverage for you, MSTX or MSTU might be. Let's move into some amazing tweets that I pulled out for today. I just love this guy, Stack Hodler. He's so good. This is Gentleman. And he's just giving us a salute because this is it, my friends. It is happening. I wanted to share this one as well from Punter Jeff. Allianz bought 24.75% of the $3 billion convertible note. Who saw that coming? And then it kind of shows down here, who's this? Berkshire Hathaway is right behind them. Interesting. Total assets. Who's going to follow Allianz? A lot of money right there. So that's really interesting stuff. And then in this chart right here, you can see the people that bought and what percentage. So 24.75. And then these are other companies that bought into the convertible bond notes. Very interesting. And I like how Jeff put this purchase represents 0.059% of Allianz assets. So they're getting their toe in, but you better believe once they get a taste of it, it's only going to get more. This post by Matt, I think, is absolutely incredible. I mean, I'm not going to read it all, but I'll stop here for a second. If you want to pause and read it, feel free. And then I'll go down further here if you want to pause and read this. And then I'll even go down to the bottom where you can pause and read this. And it's just a really good tweet by Matt. And of course, you can just go follow him, Matt_UTXO. He has a great podcast as well, MSTR Daily for sure. Let's go to this one right here from Punter Jeff again. MSTR convertible bonds are regulatory arbitrage. Insurance companies get zero credit to leverage against Bitcoin on balance sheets, but they get 55% credit for holding unrated convertible debt in an equity. The future demand for this convertible debt is going to be massive. Massive. I mean, the future is so bright, my friends. This is a great tweet from MSTR Updates. It's just so true. First, they ignore you. Then they laugh at you. Then they fight you. This is where we are. People are trying to fight MSTR. And then guess what? Inevitably, we win. We all win, my friends. We win, and we're going to win. I want to end with this clip from Mr. Michael Saylor himself. To me, this 10-minute clip is absolutely priceless. I would just recommend checking it out, consuming it, because he does such a good job here. So I'm going to press the play button and please enjoy.
$1,000 was at a high of about $99,500 yesterday, but MicroStrategy, the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin, was down 16%. That fall coming after Citron Research disclosed a short position in MicroStrategy. Citron said that it's still bullish on Bitcoin and praised MicroStrategy's executive chairman, Michael Saylor, but it said the company's volume has completely detached from Bitcoin's fundamentals. Michael Saylor is here with us this morning, and I'd love for you, if you could, it's great to see you. Bitcoin's been a wild run, and boy, have you been right, but I'd love for you to respond to this report.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people don't understand our core business. We're a Bitcoin treasury company. We're powered by a Bitcoin reactor. We've got $35 billion of Bitcoin, and it's spinning at 100 vol. So the way we make money is we're selling the volatility and recycling it back into Bitcoin. And we're also stripping the volatility and the risk and the performance off of fixed income securities. And we're transferring that to the common stock. So our common stock is delivering 2x Bitcoin, 2x vol. So, Andrew, if you want to understand the economics of this, we generate a spread. The BTC spread we generate, it's a function of the equity premium, the convert premium, and the Bitcoin premium. The Bitcoin premium is the ARR Bitcoin versus the US dollar. 2 weeks ago, we did 4.6 billion of an ATM. We ran it at a 70% spread. That means we made about a $3 billion BTC gain in 5 days. That would be about $12.50 a share. But over 10 years, that's $36 billion, or about $150 a share, just on that 1 week. This week, we did a convertible bond, $3 billion at an 80% BTC spread. That's a $2.4 billion gain. That's about $10 a share. But over 10 years, that's $125 a share to the shareholders. I think that the thesis of the shorts is if the premium in the equity disappears, we can't make money. What they miss is that when we actually borrow money at 6% and we invest it in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin goes up 30%, and by the way, Bitcoin's going up 60%, we're getting a 90% BTC spread, but it would be 80% BTC spread, which means a $3 billion fixed income raise in preferreds or bonds generates the same $125 a share and $30 billion over 10 years. So once you understand that, you have a different view of the company.
So what do you say, though, to those who say there's a risk here? Because this is effectively a levered Bitcoin position. And if, in fact, Bitcoin goes down, this becomes a much more complicated situation.
Yeah, well, the number one risk you take is the existential risk that Bitcoin has an extinction level event and goes to zero immediately tomorrow. But every long investor in MicroStrategy is a Bitcoin maximalist or Bitcoin believer. They've accepted that risk. Once you accept that risk, what do we expect? We expect it's going to go up 29% a year for the next 21 years. It's been going up 60% a year. So the people that are buying the equity are buying the equity because they want 2x Bitcoin, they want 2x vol. And once you accept that idea, you can see, over the last 2 weeks, Andrew, we generated $5.4 billion in BTC gains. We're making 500 million a day. I'm staring at my screen and we're selling dollar bills for $3, sometimes a million times a minute. And so it's not impossible. I mean, we may very well be the most profitable company in the United States, growing the fastest right now, because there's not many companies that are making $500 million a day doing what they're doing. If you don't like Bitcoin, you don't want any piece of it. But if you like Bitcoin, then this is a monster for you.
Look, I don't think anybody is debating the success that you're having. No question. I think the question, and we had Michael Novogratz on the broadcast yesterday, is just the question of leverage. And when people talk about leverage, and all sorts of bells go off in people's minds about what can happen if there is a downturn or there is a retreat. Not necessarily to zero, but we've seen this be a very volatile asset. And while it's 100% gone up over the long term, and I'm not questioning that, I'm questioning whether you think if in fact there was a retracement from 98,000 to, I don't know, 70,000, what happens?
I'll make 2 points. 1 point. Participants in the market are buying Bitcoin 20x faster than the supply is coming from the miners. There's a major demand supply imbalance, and that's going to continue for the foreseeable future. So I don't really expect that. But let's say it did happen. MicroStrategy's business is so good. We're generating 1 times the capital we raised. When we raised $10 billion in capital, if Bitcoin traded down $20,000 like you described, we'd still make $10 billion off the arbitrage by selling the volatility. If it trades up like I expect it will, we make 10x that. So we're either making $3 billion on that convertible bond this week in the worst case when it trades down, or we're making $30 billion on that convertible bond if it trades like the Bitcoiners believe it will.
And Michael, how should investors think about buying MicroStrategies versus buying now an ETF that might be levered, for example?
Well, what makes us special is we've got $35 billion of permanent capital. So we can lever that. We can sell a 5-year bond, or we can pledge that as collateral and raise fixed income instruments. If I sell 6% bonds or 6% preferreds, I'm getting that 80% or more spread out of it. BlackRock is a great company, and IBIT's great, but it's overnight deposits, and the ETFs have overnight deposits. So they can't create duration. They can't exploit the difference between borrowing money at 0% and investing at 60%. But that's exactly what we've been doing for the past 4 years.
So right now, I know you've been buying your own stock, but right now, if somebody was interested in Bitcoin, you think that the better bet is MicroStrategy versus buying it directly, for example, forgetting about the leverage piece of it?
I actually think by far the best bet is buy our convertible bonds, because our convertible bonds are outperforming Bitcoin right now with downside protection. That's why we sold 3 billion of them this week. That's why I got a $500 million order to buy one in a 20-minute meeting. So if I was really Bitcoin curious and I wanted downside protection and I wanted the upside of Bitcoin, I'd buy the convert. But ultimately, you got 3 choices, Andrew. You can buy Bitcoin fixed income instruments like a MicroStrategy convert, which is some of the upside but downside protection. You can buy the straight Bitcoin in a wrapped ETF like IBIT, which is fine. Or you can buy high voltage Bitcoin, 2x Bitcoin, which is what MicroStrategy is. And I think it depends on the investor.
Michael, what's the conversion premium and what's the coupon?
We just sold that bond at 55% premium, 0 coupon, 5 years. It's the biggest crypto convert in history.
It's a 0.
And by the way,
that's interesting.
0. And we're the only company in the world that's ever issued 5 converts in a single year. So we are dominating the convert market as well as the equity and the options market in Bitcoin-related securities.
I know you're obviously super bullish on Bitcoin. We had a guest here in the 6 o'clock hour. I don't know if you had an opportunity to see him. He said he believed that it is plausible that Bitcoin gets to $1 million a coin literally in the next year, given what he thinks may happen in Washington as it relates to this new Trump administration.
Well, my long-term forecast is 21 years, 29% ARR. Right now, we're 60% ARR. It'll decelerate toward 20% ARR over the next 21 years, and the volatility will decelerate from 60 vol to 20 or 25 vol. So that's my outlook. I think that the red wave was incredibly bullish. Basically, the red wave converted headwinds into tailwinds. Instead of a 20% headwind, it becomes a 20% tailwind. So I would be more bullish based upon the red wave. But ultimately, I think the right way to think of it is it's always going to be the stronger capital asset versus a conventional S&P index.
So what's that get us to? With what you say, 29% ARR, or what's in 21 years? What is that?
My forecast is 13 million a coin by the year 2045. And what I tell everybody is every Bitcoin you don't buy today is going to cost you $13 million in the future.
Michael Saylor, giving us a lot to think about this morning. We appreciate you joining us on this Friday morning. Thank you.
Well, there you have it from the man, the myth, the legend himself, Michael Saylor. I mean, look at that smile. Wouldn't you be smiling if you were Michael Saylor too? Wouldn't you be smiling if you owned Bitcoin as well? Wouldn't you be smiling if you owned MicroStrategy on top of that? Absolutely. And I hope you enjoyed this episode of Master MicroStrategy, where again, we're looking to master the genius that is Michael Saylor 7 days a week. I would love a like. I would love a comment. I would love a subscribe if you got any value from this video. Those all are very meaningful. And remember, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Please consult a financial advisor with any financial questions whatsoever. And please, as you go into the weekend, remember for both of us, there is no second best.